the way Ayurveda is being seen largely in this society is quite hilarious. It is unfortunate that I have to be making these kind of videos to really bring in the awareness, because see, people think that just Ayurveda is a cure for everything, and it is safe and no side effect. Anybody can take whatever the medicine that is, so there is nothing that is going to, if there is no harm that is going to happen, then there is no effect also, right? If there is any effect which is not compatible with your body type and body imbalances, then it would become different. That is a basic common sense which one has to understand, but people do not think. They just I don't know who has done that, no side effect and all that blah blah things. I have no clue, but people are becoming crazy about it. And then just because of that, people at the end stage of a disease, like I just got a call last week from a person that an old man is being under dialysis from many years, and then now there is more shivering and stuff like that happening, and they are not able to figure out. They say probably there is an infection, that's why more and more and more and more tests. Now Ayurveda is coming into their picture, and they want an alternative for that kind of a thing. Okay, at the end stage, when they have been given multiple kind of treatments, multiple kinds of medicines all along their life, and there is no other thing to explore, then an alternative is required. It is crazy. Where was this? And then the way they say is like Ayurveda is a full cure, we need alternative. And then sometimes video call or over the video call, I mean, that is the craziness that is there. Okay, and also in such kind of conditions we'll never know what exactly is the issue, because it is already mixed up. Okay, and it is not a simple thing, it is not a cheap alternative. Remember that when nothing works, it is all strangled and then mixed up like what you call churumuri. Okay, then it requires extensive skills, and it is not over a video or just drop in and see and then give medicines. That is not going to happen. See, every individual can be taken into consideration and analyzed and see what best can be done, but that requires a reciprocation. It is not a fun part. Okay, and the second thing is, people think that taking nadi, everything is known and they can take off medicines. This is one of the most foolishness that people are following. And then there are platforms and places where it is being given like that, and that kind of a very superficial kind of work is not going to be helpful for anybody, especially for the people who are ailing. It is just a holding on criteria. It's just like a placebo. Or even some people, not even the medicines, they just want to feel good factor. They want to go and check their pulse for 2-3 minutes, and then they feel that how am I and all that stuff. And see, people who are not wise enough, their priority in life is very different, are doing these kind of things. But at the end of the day, the person who is going through the problems is the one who is going to suffer extremely. In dharmically, if I have to say spiritually, people who do that kind of thing will have compounded consequences that they have to reap through, because there is no escape from that. And how many people can really understand the dharmic status or the spiritual cause and effect theory? right? If I talk about it, it will become one big chapter. Let me not go into that, but at this moment what I'm saying is, and I receive calls regularly saying that, Nadi Ayurveda. What is Nadi Ayurveda? Is it available? Is it a product? Skill is not a product. And people have to think before they speak. It's very, very, very important for one to understand what are they talking about, where they stand in the spectrum of health, and what are the consequences if they take wrong kind of information, wrong kind of input, and or if they do not do the right thing at the right time, what is the consequences that they are going to reap is one thing. Health is something that is unique to everybody, and illness is something that is again unique to everybody, and there is no commonality in that. If a person has to undergo any kind of treatment or address the problem, it has to be very systematically done. And the system doesn't mean that you just go to a doctor, 5-10 minutes, discuss something, and then you just take the medicine, take it for some days, go back and take it for some days. Some people say that I have taken this kind of medicine for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, and then nothing happened. I got bored and then left, and then I went to another doctor and stuff like that. These are one of the most ignorant, negligent ways of treating themselves. And whoever has given it, they are also equally negligent and I have to say illiterate in the platform of health, because if they themselves go through that kind of a problem, will they do the same? I don't think so. See, you have to remember this one. See, when people say that, just taking pulse, I will tell you everything and then all cure and stuff, it is, they do not understand what is it. One thing, they are doing it with a different purpose. See, there are many platforms which have that kind of a thing, and even on the roadside, there are tents which have Himalayan Baba's tents. They also say, and they have a specific criteria that is written, and they say that sexual disorders, pulse taking. I have come across people even who are working in the IT field and all those things, very educated, so-called educated people, going there and for some kind of a sexual issue, and then spending around 2 to 3 lakhs in that tent. Without any proper treatment or anything. These kind of things are extremely high, and health has to be analyzed clearly. The data needs to be given to the doctor very clearly. If you are not able to give, then you won't be able to get better. It is not like magic. Doctors are not witches or magicians to really understand. And a doctor will see a few people, so it is important for them to remember what is seen. They write down, and then when the history has to be taken, you have to submit those things. Otherwise you will have to pay for the time that they also give. You can't just speak around all the things and then a doctor will give you 2 hours, 3 hours to speak all those things, remembering and remembering. No, that is not the life at this point of time. There was one time when nothing was expensive. Now the time is the most expensive factor. And if a doctor is working on the extremes, and the chronic disorders and all, it takes a lot of energy for them. They need time to do their sadhana, otherwise it is not possible. See, there are people who have clinics and they see 100 people in a day. Okay, most of the people who are in the labor section, they will be working for day-to-day basis. They want something to, if they have cough, cold and all those things, they want something as a relief right away. So they go to those places, and those doctors usually will have generic medicines, that injections and all those things they give. Okay, and then they'll take it and then go back to their work. And 100 people, they can see how many minutes they give, right? If it is something like that you want, then you will have to go to those kind of places. And do not compare the extremes, the core science with the people who are doing that kind of practice. It is a very immature way of thinking. And understand that health, it is not cheap. Once if somebody says that for some kind of a small amount, if they tell you about nadi, and then they'll give you medicine, and then they want you to take the medicine again and again and again, they will have other kinds of income sources which comes from the medicine or from the other things that you purchase there. You understood? At the end of the day, you have to know very clearly what is it that you're doing. See, health is not like any other platform where they give you small amount of free thing to catch you, and then the next phase. Okay, silver, gold, platinum, all those things. In health, if people keep doing that, by the time they reach gold, the person will be in emergency. I have had people who will who I think probably they are from marketing field. They were just asking, for us to take the medicine, then you will have to explain and then do counseling for us. For them to take the treatment for their own problem, the doctor has to give free counseling, it seems. What does that mean? It is so silly, right? That is for hair fall. Because a child is having hair fall, so they will want to discuss all those things. Discussion takes time. They can discuss it with anybody. If a person has to discuss the things with the doctor, then it is that they are actually discussing with them, and the doctor uses the entire skills that they have learned and gathered over the years, and it is extremely valuable. It cannot be just dispensed like that, and that has to be valued. It is not a free thing. The doctor will not get any kind of things free. Doctor's service and all those things, if they had gotten the seat and whatever the studies, the books, the years of practice, the place, all those things, if it was free, then they would have given the things for free or cheap. One has to understand that. People cannot talk nonsense. If a person purchases a phone or a laptop, the moment they brought it in, the value of it will decrease. Once they start using it, then what happens? The work that they do from there, then that has to be valued, right? But then otherwise it will become lesser price if they want to sell it, or if it gets wrong, then it will not be more than what they paid for. Never, isn't it? Unless it's an antique piece and left for like 30 years and then sold. That's a different scenario. But when you understand and be under the guidance of a doctor, a wise doctor who is practicing genuinely, then what happens? Every single conversation will help tune your mind. And the things that you learn is going to be with you forever. For the lifetime, it gives you value, and not just for the lifetime, especially when it comes to Ayurveda, for multiple lifetimes, because Ayurveda considers the entire body as one, and the problem arises at different aspects. It can be mentally, it can be emotionally, it can be physically, it can be spiritually, it can be physiologically, it can be morally, it can be socially, it can be economically. There are so many multiple things one has to gather and say. These things not many will tell, not many will know. Only if one is genuinely working on themselves, then only the health will be there. Otherwise, it is just a show off. There are so many innumerable number of coaches and all who will stretch and all those things. They are not doctors. They do not know the physiology and physiodynamics, pathophysiology, nothing. And then they say that I did this. You have seen so many people who are very active and doing a lot of aerobics and stuff like that suddenly collapse and die. Isn't it? Why? Whatever they were teaching, they are not following. I'm not saying that when the time is up for anybody, everybody will go. But there are certain things, the mistakes that's being practiced around, that has to be avoided. Those things one will learn individually. It is not the same for everybody. Some things will be the same, but not all things will be the same, right? So one has to be very careful. Then the third thing is, whoever has taken medicine for themselves somewhere, that medicine is given for everybody, and they act as though their own doctors. That is such a silly thing. That is idiotic. I took this medicine, you give that medicine. And on the social media platform, they will say that I took this medicine, you took this medicine, that antibiotic, that medicine, this medicine. Oh, you have to see. And also the Ayurveda medicines, so whatever that comes to the mind, everything. It is nasty. No wonder hospitals are being built, new hospitals, and it is being full. Just because of this fundamental things which is wrong. After all the things are done, then people will imagine Ayurveda will cure. It is so silly. One has to be very careful and be in tune with themselves. Only then they will be able to really figure out what is the issue that is going on. If there is any slight change in the body, one will be able to understand that very quickly. Not after it is showing up as a big disease and then diagnosed in the lab and then given a label. And that is the last stage. It is called Vyakta. Unless one is careful about it, unless one understands and puts their health into priority, they will not be able to lead an optimal life. The decision making will be wrong. The way and the lifestyle and the priorities all will be in jumbles. So you have to be very careful. And do not consider Ayurveda as some cheap alternative and stuff like that. It is hilarious. Okay? You take care. Give a thought on what exactly I was talking about. Listen to it carefully again. Then you will understand. Bye.